Know that management plays a vital role in each and every country, each and every state, as well as each and every company, right? I believe it's only management who can take one particular country or maybe state or maybe a company to a higher position, or it can also drag one country or state or a company down. Always talk about it, right? How to manage things, how management is working. So it's all about management and how they are working towards it, towards growth, and what kind of vision and mission they have. So on the basis of that, we do understand that managing things is really tricky, but on the other hand, it can be a very skillful effort, right? So that's the reason we provide, or maybe we pay more attention to managing things or managing people, right? Now, for that reason, I previously talked about, right, agile project management, which is pretty much global right now, and also a lot of people are implementing it, and a lot of companies are implementing it, and they're getting really benefited out of it. But today I'm going to share one particular technique. It's also a management technique. I personally used it and I learned it probably a few years ago, and then I've been working towards it. I've been implementing it. I've been using it typically, and I really the result is really, really satisfactory. So that's the reason I'm going to share that technique with you today. It's a very crisp and pretty short technique. I'm sure you guys will be interested to know. So this particular method is called DIME. So DIME. You can also find it over here. It's already written. So what does DIME stand for, right? That's what we need to know. So D stands for describe, I stands for inquire, M stands for manage, and E stands for encourage. So it's about describe, inquire, manage, and encourage, right? So it's pretty straightforward, right? So describe means you are narrating something, you are describing a particular task, or maybe you're describing what is typically expected out of someone, right? Now let's come down to the second point, inquire. So say for example, you have provided a new responsibility to someone, maybe your colleague, maybe your team members, right? Now every after certain time, you need to inquire how is it going on. So say for example, you have provided a particular task which is very complex. You know that there might be some challenges. So you need to inquire pretty often. You need to sit together and find out, how things are going on, how things are shaping up rather. Is it going to the right direction the way we intended, or maybe we expected, or there are some different challenges on its way that we can think about, and we can come up with a resolution together, right? So collaboration, of course, has to be there. You need to collaborate with your team member, your supervisor, maybe your management, everything, right? And at the same point of time, you need to understand and ensure it's proving to be effective. Let's go back to the third point, that is manage. Now manage is typically a very, very tricky term. I'm sure you guys do understand that. We talk about it, right? Let's manage it, but the way we say that let's manage it, it's not that easy. I think probably the most difficult task nowadays is to manage. Let's think about how to manage it better. So remember, manage is equal to solution, simplification. Now the last one is encourage. Encouragement is very, very necessary. It doesn't matter the end point, it doesn't matter the result. You need to constantly encourage others. Why is required? Because remember, it's about professional life. So it's not only about how you are approaching towards it, but also you have to think about humanity. We all are working for a reason, right? And we come together, we discuss about a lot of things, and then we try to deliver. But remember at the same point of time that we are doing it for a company, maybe for a country, maybe for a state, right? We are not doing it for ourselves only. So thinking about that, let's not get selfish. Let's think about as a group, okay, how it can be effective for a particular group. And then constant encouragement is pretty necessary, and at the end of the day, you know that some of the other resolution will be there, success would be there, but you need to constantly encourage everyone, and some of the other it will encourage you, right? Now the trickiest part, so what exactly can go wrong? The only plausible explanation that I can come up with, rather this particular technique which I described, it's available in the market. You can find out some of the courses are built on this particular technique, DIME. But now let me add my version of it. So it's a pretty straightforward approach, but where can people go wrong? That's my point, okay? So let's talk about that. So as I mentioned, D stands for describe, right? But most of the cases, people fail to describe. So what they come up with, they typically end up demanding something. So D stands for describe, but instead of that, it sounds like demand. So remember, whenever you are describing, it should not sound like a demand to the other person. So that's where everything can go wrong, and people will take things differently, maybe the way you never ever intended. So remember this, D should be for describe, not for demand. Now the next one, I stands for inquire, as I said, right? So inquiry is pretty much required, but then where can people go wrong? So instead of inquiry, you tend to investigate. So you should always inquire in such a manner to the person that whether something is going wrong, whether any other way you can help the other person. So that should be like inquiry, but it should not sound like you are trying to investigate what exactly went wrong and why it went wrong. So that why can be pretty harmful, and the other person who's a human being, right? That person can take it as a criticism. So everything can go wrong in that part of time. Maybe you never intended, but it might be proven to be an incorrect approach. So remember, I should be inquiry, not investigation. Okay. Now the next point is manage. So as I said, manage is typically the most difficult part. Then where can people go wrong? Manage becomes manipulation. That's where people will go wrong. So if you try to manipulate things, see, remember, manipulation will be considered as a positive thing when it comes to data manipulation. And why? Because we need a desired data set or maybe a structure, and that's a reason we have to manipulate data once we get the dump, right? So we can manipulate the data dump and then we can get the desired result out of it. So that's pretty straightforward, and that is acceptable. But remember, facts, material facts typically should not be manipulated. So for that reason, we need to remember, we need to manage, we need to simplify, not manipulate. Okay. The last part is, as I said, it should be encourage. So when you are encouraging others, typically result will be really, really great. But that encouragement should not sound like you are empathizing. Why? See, empathizing is pretty necessary. You know, sometimes I believe it's pretty great even. Remember, encouragement should not sound like empathize, because sometimes people take it in a different way. On that note, I'm going to conclude today's video, and do comment, like and share. And if you think I made sense and my video can help you out in order to manage your day-to-day task, or maybe your career, maybe your work, that you can manage it in a better way after implementing this particular technique, then do subscribe to my channel to get these kind of videos a lot in future, which can be beneficial for you. And as I said, I'm sharing it not from only the vault, but I'm sharing it through my experience, through the incidents which actually took place in my career. So thank you very much once again, guys. Take care. Bye bye.